Hello, welcome back to another video. Today, I thought that I would share some of my study tips and tricks so that you can hopefully pass your real estate exam on the first try. It took me a couple times to pass, but I think if I would have done these tips that I'm about to share with you guys today from the jump, from the first time, then I definitely would have passed. So I'm just gonna share these tips with you guys today, and hopefully it helps you guys out to pass your exam. I have passed my real estate exam. I passed on June 1st, 2022. It was a long journey, and I know if you are on the same journey of trying to get your real estate license, it's definitely not an easy journey. So that's why I'm here. That's why I created this channel, so that I can, share some tips and tricks alongside my journey of becoming a real estate agent, but also help you guys as well. So let's just get right into this video. And if you guys do like content like this, make sure that you guys like and subscribe to my channel so that you never miss out on another video like this. Make sure you guys check out my how to become a real estate agent playlist, as well as real estate exam prep playlist, so that you guys can see more videos like this where I do like key terms, what to expect on exam day, and all of that. Lastly, make sure that you guys follow me on my Instagram accounts. All of the links to everything that I'm talking about today will be down below in the description box. So let's just get right into this video. Some of my top tips and tricks so that you can pass your real estate exam, if not on the first time, because it's not really that important to pass on the first time. Like seriously, it takes most people multiple times to pass, but I promise if you are taking it for your first time or your 10th or 15th time, that if you put these tips into play from this day going on forward, you will pass, okay? The very first tip, and just so that you guys know, I have a paper with notes so I don't miss anything, but the very first tip that I want to share with you guys, just from experience, is do not schedule your real estate exam until you can fully walk in to that exam center confident enough that you have more than a 50% chance of passing. And the reason why I say that is because the very first time I took my test, I was literally starting a new job. I was doing 40 hours a week of intense training, learning medical treatments, terminology, loans, sales, like so many things that I was just downloading into my brain with for 30 days on top of trying to learn real estate. So you guys know probably, your brain only has so much space and capacity to be able to retain new information. And so with that being said, I did not study enough. I purchased my real estate U course. To be honest, I do not recommend that. I mean, I recommend it because it's affordable, but really in the end, I don't feel like it really helped me in the way that I needed to learn. But it was like $99 at that time, and it got me through to get my exam. I did not study enough. And so going into the exam the first time, I thought I knew enough, but it was a lot harder than I expected, because it's like there's so much you need to learn, and then the test is just like condensed to like this, and it's not even stuff that you're going to actually use after you become a real estate after you take your real estate exam. Like now that I'm in the first couple weeks of being a real estate agent and like trying to learn my systems and my teams and like broker, like all this kind of stuff, and I'll share more about it on my channel, like which brokerage I went with, because I knew where I wanted to go from the beginning, and I'll share more in depth about all of this because I have so many videos to make just for like the pre-course and pre-test info. But I think that's enough ranting. But I just want you guys to know that like literally you can take this test as many times and it doesn't matter, but make sure that when you're going in to take the test that you feel confident enough that you know your stuff, know your terminology, and know your vocabulary, and feel like confident enough that you will pass. Like I walked in there like scared. Like I went in each time scared, but like I was like, oh my God, like that type of scared. So the next tip would be get Prep Agent. Now I have a link down below, but Prep Agent, he's here on YouTube. He actually has a YouTube channel and it's free. You can watch their videos, but I purchased his Prep Agent course. It was like, I think $100 max, like, or less without tax. And I really love it. And I'm going to do a full review, but it's just allowed me to learn in many different styles. So like visually, watching videos, like animation, just hearing audio, webinars, there's practice tests, there's flashcards, there's vocabulary sheets, there's like so many different ways that you can learn that I'm the type of person that I get bored really easy, like doing one thing over and over again, which like in my real estate U course, it was strictly audio. The audio was so monotone and just boring that I was going in and out one ear. Whereas if like doing prep agent, he was making these like really hard terms and concepts, breaking them down into like normal terms and things that like we would understand. For example, like when he talks about land and ownership, like he breaks it down into like being able to visualize like a king and how he, you know, how he gave other people land and how it's called a life estate and all this crazy stuff. So like, I mean, I just really loved his style of teaching because he broke really hard concepts down and made them easy and made them like easier to understand and to relate to, because it was like in normal term, not these huge big terminology words that you're just hearing on the audio, if that makes sense. So definitely recommend Prep Agent. There'll be a link down below for I think it's like 20% off. Yeah, so check it out. I highly recommend it. Like, I feel like it is what helped me pass the test, because without it, the next step would be study every single day. Like, I mean, you need to be doing real estate every day, like as far as studying is, and even if it's 5 minutes a day, just so that you are retaining the information. The more you hear things, like in the Prep Agent, the audio that was there, like I re-listened to every single video like over and over and over again. And I'll tell you some more tips, but like indulge yourself in it. Like if you are brushing your teeth, like listen to a real estate YouTube video or a webinar, like indulge yourself in it any moment that you can, and try to learn 5 new vocabulary terms a day. And that's meaning like learn them, understand what they are, and understand them enough to tell them to somebody else. And that's like another tip is like, for me with like my husband, he helped me study the day before, and I was like, let me explain to you some key terms that I'm having trouble with, because for me, and you guys know this by my study videos, that me being able to like say a term or a concept and explain it to you, I'm able to actually like understand it more because I'm having to learn it to teach it. Another tip is to do, like if you get the Prep Agent, is to do practice tests every single day, and do small practice tests. So that's one reason why I really like Prep Agent, is because you don't have to pay for like extra course practice tests or like Keller Williams practice tests. Like you can do his test, which I'm not lying, like a lot of his questions, concepts, and test terms, like the way he did his test were somewhat similar to the actual exam that I took in Washington. So I like it because it regenerates different tests, and there's like different subjects. And in the next videos, I'll show you guys, like I said, the back end of Prep Agent. But in there, it has like, you know, it'll say like financing, contracts, agency, Washington state exam, comprehensive final exam. So it's like everything. So there's different subjects and then like the big test. And so what I recommended, what I did is, because I felt overwhelming trying to do like 50 question tests, because I was trying to build up endurance to take that 3-hour test. But to be honest, I got burnt out and wasn't motivated to do the test. So then when I brought it back, I was doing like say 10 to 20 questions per subject every single day. And I mean, even if it was 10 questions, like, I mean, if I was in the grocery store and waiting in line, like I would just pull it up really quick on my phone, because there's an app that you can download, and I would just do tests, questions in line. You know, like it's really easy and it's not like too crazy to use. It's just like multiple choice and next. But I do recommend doing practice tests every day, just because you're learning the words, like, and you're indulging yourself in the terminology in ways that on the test you're going to see it. And then once you start to get closer to test day, and this is what I did, I started taking bigger exams, so 20 to 25 questions. I did 50 questions of the state exam every single day for like 3 weeks, and I literally, like, that's how I passed. So the second time I took the real estate exam test, I passed only the state portion. So I had to take it 3 times. The first time I didn't pass anything, and I knew I shouldn't have taken the test because, like I explained in the beginning of the video. But the second time I passed the state portion, and I highly believe it's because I was doing Prep Agent state exam test every single day and like 50 questions every day. And it's really repetitive. Like you'll see that in the real test and in Prep Agent, that some of the questions will be repetitive. So I'll get to that when we get to the next tips, but just remember that tip there that I'm saying. But if you get Prep Agent and you're taking those tests, once you get closer to exam day, start taking 50 to 100 questions. So then you're kind of building up that stamina to know what to expect when you actually go into exam day, because in exam day, it's 140 questions. So I would recommend doing like every day, especially that week up to exam day, doing 100 questions of the Prep Agent Comprehensive. So that's all of it. So like a final exam, and then doing 50 questions of the state exam every single day, at least a week up to your exam, because then you're going to be like just repetitive, building that endurance. I mean, don't get burnt out. You know, like for me, it's not like I was sitting down and doing it through. Like I would do like some questions in the morning because I also work full time, and then I would like do it while I'm like working, and then I would do some at night. So like, you know, I wasn't sitting down all at one time. If you can, that's great actually, because you'll learn what the actual test is going to be like, but don't burn yourself out because it will take about an hour just to do that. Another tip, like I just said, is learn different ways. So that means, you know, if you're in Prep Agent, do different, don't just listen to audio, like listen to audio, do webinars, do videos, do flashcards, do the terminology, do the practice test, do like the vocab where you write in your own definitions, like learn different ways. Like don't just listen to Prep Agent. Like there's other people on YouTube, and I'll link them down below, that I watch too, like what is it, Real Estate Wizard or something like that, like Real Estate Academy. Like there's so many real estate prep channels that you can actually get free content, but I highly recommend Prep Agent just for honestly the practice test portions, because that's what you need it for. But yeah, learn from different people, watch YouTube videos, watch reality TV shows. So like $1 Million Listing, Selling Tampa, Selling Sunset, because you're going to learn the words watching other real estate agents doing things that are related to real estate. Even though it is a little bit of reality TV, they do talk about like escrow and contracts, and it shows you how to negotiate. So you're going to learn a lot of terms that will help connect, not just hearing a terminology, like a terminology term, like I said in my last video, and just trying to memorize it. When you actually hear it and you see it more in like it played out in like a scenario, like on a TV show, you're like, oh, that's what that means. This is how I do this. And then it can connect and it makes more sense in your brain, so that when you're taking the test, you're not thinking too hard about vocab. You're just kind of knowing concepts and what it means to do things. So I wanted to give you a couple tips mainly on test day, now that we kind of got it on like the study style tips and things like that. But I did want to share some tips as far as test day. So one thing is you want to get there 15 to 30 minutes early. That's just because you don't want to be rushing in, being frantic, trying to get in to take your test, because you don't want to be stressed. So get there early in case you get a speeding ticket, knock on wood, or there's an accident and then you're stuck in traffic. At least you have 30 minutes to kind of, you know, hopefully traffic will give up. But also because it gives you time to get there, get checked in, do some studying right before you go in. And leading into studying, what I did is the day before the test, because if you, like you do Prep Agent, you can print out like, it's like a vocabulary term, like, I don't know what it's called, index with a bunch of vocabulary words for real estate. But I literally went through all of those terms, and I don't know if it was for my course or if it was Prep Agent, but I just went through every single term like the night before and highlighted and wrote down any term or main thing. So like the how much is an acre, like how many square feet is an acre, and things like that. I wrote it down on paper just so that would be easy, like right before the exam, to scan over and just download to my brain. But definitely what I would do is go over key terms in a glossary that you're getting from your schooling. Any words you don't know, hopefully you should know more than you don't know, because if you don't, then you probably shouldn't be taking the test. And then just anything you want to remember, like how many, you know, what is a discount point, how to convert commission, all those things, write it down. So then right before you go in, once you've parked and you're there 15-30 minutes early, you can read over these vocabulary words and just get it fresh in your mind. So the last thing on your mind before you walk in is those terms that is the hardest to remember. Another thing is, on the way to my exam, at least me, it took me like 45 minutes to get to my exam. So on the way there, I was listening to the Prep Agent audio. While you're taking the test, 2 tips for me, and a lot of other people on YouTube recommended it, and this is why I did it the last time, which I believe helped me pass, is skip all the math questions. Skip all the math questions and leave them for the end. For me, here's what I did. I didn't really want to skip all of them to the end because I didn't want to be so tired by the end that I couldn't work through them. So every single math question that I got, I would read it and try to solve it one time. And that one time, if I got the question right and it was like there, because you'll know if you're right or you're wrong. There'll be some tricky questions, but you'll know if you're right or you're wrong, because if you see your answer there and it's there, okay. But if not, I would bookmark it. Like I wouldn't take a second or third time to try to figure it out. I only gave it one time, and then I would save it for the end. So I did that with every single math question. Most of them I had to come back to it at the end, and not just math questions, but even any other question that was just too hard or taking too long to think about, save it till the end, because you want to get through everything else that you do know. Get through that as fast as you can so that you have as much time towards the end to work on those that is the hardest. Because the very first time I took my test, I spent a lot of time on math questions and I was taking my little sweet time, which 3.5 hours is a long time. But if you don't know your stuff, like literally I was rushing, like trying to finish. I was the last person in the testing center the first time to leave, and I was rushing through the end because I took too long the first 3 hours. So whereas the last time when I passed, I was the first person to leave and I passed the test, and it was because I knew my stuff and I was able to get in and get out. So any math questions or any hard questions, bookmark them and save them till the end so that when you get to the end, you can work harder after you've already spent that time to do everything else that you know. Another tip is read each question line by line slowly. Don't get bored because you see a lot of text, because I know how it is when you're like in a test for 2.5 hours and you don't want to read anymore, and then you see a big question. Read it line by line, because a lot of the times those big questions have a bunch of concepts and numbers and percentages that might not even be related to the question that they're asking. And I did notice this a couple times, and I noticed one question 3 times on my test. If you watched my last video, what to accept on exam day, yeah, the last time I believe I got it right, because I mean, I figured it out that it was like all this jumbo, the first 4 sentences, and only the last 2 sentences is what I needed to actually solve an equation for. So make sure you're reading each line by line. Like literally in a math question, I would read one line. I read it all through. So this is another easy tip. Read the whole question through, especially if it's a math one, and then come back to the top, the first line. And then, you know, write it out. Like if it's a number, write that number down, then go to the second one, because you'll notice it's going to be in steps. Like this is the loan amount, this is the discount point, this is the down payment, now what is the total, you know. So go each line by line and figure out what they're asking for, because then you'll be able to be like, oh wait, this isn't even related to the question. X out, this is jumbo, you know. So take it line by line. Don't get stressed out when you see a bunch of text and like, oh, I have to read it. Take each question line by line, and even for the short questions, because they will trip you up, okay? They will trip you up because they know when you're trying to get through that test, you're going to just think that easy questions that you knew you could have got right, but because you just rushed through it, there was probably one word that's like, let me know if this is false, and you were thinking it meant true, and then boom, you got the question wrong. So read each question line by line. And the last tip, because this video is already getting long, and if you guys do need more, watch my what to expect on your real estate exam day. But the last tip for you guys here is get into Facebook groups. So there's so many Facebook groups. There's local study groups. There's prep agent study groups. I'll try to leave the prep agent ones down below, or any ones that I'm part of that you guys can join. But get into those groups. Don't let it discourage you, because there are people in there that it's like, this is my 16th time, and you're like, really? But in a way, it motivates you to be like, okay, well, I definitely don't want to be doing this 16 times, but it lets you know that if you don't get it right on the first try, that you're not stupid, you're not dumb, that you can do it. It just, you have to focus more and study a little bit more, know your concepts, because you actually will need to know this when you get out. The main things like agency and the laws, you have to know this to be a good agent. It's not like you're learning how to be a real estate agent, but you need to know these laws so that you don't go to jail. So I hope this video helped you guys out. If it did, make sure you guys like and subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any more videos like this, and comment down below a video you guys would like to see on my channel. Look out for my other videos, such as, you know, the prep agent back end, the prep agent review, more real estate stuff, and I just hope you guys are here for the journey. So again, find me on Instagram, TikTok, and all of that, and I'll see you guys in the next video.